I'll watch some TV. It'll help me to relax.
Hello and welcome to the Roundup show. So what have I been getting up to this week? Not a lot, to be perfectly fair. I've been catching up on the Alien build. Yeah, that's all seems to what I've been doing this week. So yeah, you've probably noticed as well that there hasn't been any videos out for a couple of days. I've just not really, to be fair, been in the mood. I've videoed a lot of stuff. It's just the editing process, and I've been spending obviously time with the family, so I haven't had the time that I would like to edit all these videos. But this week I will be, so hopefully everything goes back to normal this week. So yeah, that's what I've been doing this week. Just chilling out with the family, because that sort of stuff comes first. Though I love doing all this sort of stuff, it's, you know, I'm a big family man, so they always come first. And yeah, so that's what I've been really doing this week. Not a lot, but I have recorded a lot of Alien build. I've done the Dodge Charger as well, so that's come along really slowly, the Charger, as in we've got another window to put in. And the problem with the Charger is, you know, it's the same sort of both sides. We don't really get a lot of the stuff that's sort of singular, if you know what I mean. Obviously we're going to get the panels, the roof's a bit of a singular thing, but the side panels and stuff like that, you know, if you're getting one, you're going to have to do the other. So it's a bit, you know, it's like any other car build. It's just a little bit tedious. It gets to that point where it's just like, and because I'm collecting it weekly as well, it seems to be dragging more than normal, if you know what I mean, if that term is right. But it just doesn't. If I was collecting from fan home, I know I would get certain bits together. But because I'm collecting it weekly, it seems to be more draggy. It's dragging it out slightly there. But overall, I'm really happy with the Charger. But it's getting to that point. Every build gets to that point, by the way. Every build that you build gets to this lull period. It's normally right smack in the middle, around issue 50, 60 time, where not a lot really goes on, and it just feels like mundane. It's just a bit draggy. But that's on that. It's the same with the Alien build. Once again, we are just poddling along. It is coming together nicely, but I think it's around issue 80, 90. That's when it starts really coming together, and it you know, it blows up. It looks really good. But until then, we're sort of just poddling along, putting skin on and magnets and God knows what else, and using lots of glue. Also as well, that is due to drop sometime in February. Not entirely sure when, but the Alien will drop here in the UK in February. Also as well, the Batman figurine build, which is currently live in France, is now being tested here in the UK. There is a site up already about that. All the information is on Facebook for that I've dropped. I've also set up a Facebook group as well for that. So that's all ready to go, and that is all live, because I set that up when the French side went, because I had a funny feeling that it would eventually come to the UK. Will I be building it? I don't know. I would say watch this space for that. Also as well, I had a notification come this week for the train set. So that is now in the warehouse. So I'm hoping over the next week or two, fingers crossed, that I'll get my train set. Some people have already started receiving them. I was a bit late ordering, so I left it quite late to do my pre-order. So I don't know whether they're doing it in batches. I think they're doing it in batches. So I don't know where my batch is. But I've had the email to say that it's in the warehouse. So that's a good thing. The other email will probably be from them posting it out, which I haven't got yet. So But I'm not in regards to the train set, I'm not in a massive rush with that, because I know it's going to take a while to do and to set up and everything else. So it's one of those projects where I don't mind it being too late, because I know it's going to be a long project to do. So I'm not in any rush to do that. Also as well, I want to talk about Fan Home. So Fan Home now have completely pushed the date back. So it was going to be on January the 31st that you could put in your pre-order for the Enterprise build and Ecto 1. They've already done that with Eleanor and the DeLorean. And then they were going to start posting them all out at the same time, which was the, I think it was the end of March. So by the end of March, they would start posting out. Well, all these dates have been pushed back. They've been pushed right back. And at the time of this recording, we've got no ETA on when we'll be able to select our number on the Ecto or the Enterprise. We don't know yet. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. You know, it's only been it's really strange, because it feels longer, but it's actually only been 7 months since Eagle Moss left. Now it could be now it seems like a lifetime ago. It really does, but it was literally 7 months ago. So it was quite a while ago, but not, if you know what I mean. It's still within a year, and for them to get to this point, they've done ridiculously well, because of how the licensing works, how trying to get the parts made, setting everything up. It takes time. You know, the Enterprise, when Eagle Moss had it, was I think it was like a 4 year. It was 4 years in the planning for the Enterprise. So it was done. It was thought about and everything else at least 4 years before it even got a mention. So it was like a 4 year plan. And a lot of these part work builds are like that as well. They don't just magically appear. A lot of these part works have been in the pipeline for a number of years already. So it's really interesting to find out all that sort of stuff out. That it's only been in, like, the stuff that's been in the pipeline that's not been in there for long, or has been. So things like the tumbler that we're building, or the doll's house, they would have been in the system for, they would have been imagining this 3 or 4 years, I mean, you know, down the road. So yeah, they don't think of an idea and then the following year they bring it out as a part work, because it takes an awful lot of time. They've got to do marketing, they've got to make sure it works, they then got to grab the license, and then they've got to grab the molds and the tooling for it. And they're not, if you don't know what the tooling is and stuff like that, it's basically metal plates with the individual pieces on. That takes a hell of a lot of time to produce all of these plates that build all the parts. So yeah, I should do a video, I think, on how part works actually, or build ups actually work, because there's a lot that goes behind the scenes that we don't see. So, you know, when we say, oh, we'd love, you know, things like Johnny 5 and stuff like that, firstly they've got to be greenlit. So firstly they've got to have a discussion whether or not it would sell, controversy, all that sort of stuff, information about who owns the rights to this sort of stuff, and then it's approaching the person that does the licensing for that, grabbing the license for it, seeing if it can physically be made as well, so printing out a 3D render, then taking that to investors, then sort of financing that. So it's not a simple process. But what I want to say with Fan Home, going back to Fan Home now, is I think it's incredible that they've gotten to this point so quickly. And I think we obviously just want it built. That's, you know, that we want our parts right now. We want it all built. You know, we're a little bit, I don't want to come across not bad here, but I think we're a little bit selfish, and I think we're a little bit impatient with it. Obviously, of course, we want it built, of course, but you know, Eagle Moss was never planned to go down. You know, I've said this many times, if you approached me when Eagle Moss was about, you know, even 6 months before it went, and you said, oh, Eagle Moss is going to go bust, I would have laughed in your face, because it was unheard of, right? The company was making money, but it just invested really, really, really badly. There was only a few, I think only a few of their collections that were losing money. They were making money with the Enterprise, but that's why they've been taken on. You got to think, if anything hasn't been taken on, it's normally because it's not made any money. But the Enterprise ships and the Doctor Who stuff was massively profitable for Eagle Moss for many, many years. And the Star Trek stuff always was. But even the part works. So, you know, it wasn't down to that. It was just down to bad investment, a bad stock maybe, and all that sort of stuff. It's all online. You can check all that on. But anyway, to get from the company closing to giving us the ability to build the ships again. I know we haven't got the parts, but the ability to put the things down to get the ball rolling in 7 months is ridiculous. If anyone knows anything about the world of partworks or business in general with this sort of business, you would know that is it's incredible to get to that point. So they're going to take a little bit more time, and I'm all right with that. I know eventually I will be able to finish my Enterprise. And I know I'll be able to, people will be able to finish all of the other builds as well. It's just going to take a little bit of time. And in regards to other territories, so, you know, places like France and Germany and places like that, they will eventually be able to do it as well. Once again, they've just got to be a little bit patient and just bide their time, and eventually they will be... they'll be able to complete it. But if you're impatient, obviously Partwork Distributions has been set up, so you can grab them. So there'll be no need to wait. So get yourself over to Partwork Distributions, and it's a forwarding service, and you'll be able to continue your build along with the rest of us if you don't want to wait. But if you do wait, they will be out eventually. I know in... I think the DeLoreans come out in Hungary, so, you know, in countries where it like was before or wasn't, and places like, you know, Fan Home can't deliver to, like Hungary, it's already there through the Agostini. So it's just a matter of waiting. You know, you know, licensing. I've gone through the licensing so many times on my videos, but, you know, just to summarise, if you want to license Star Trek ships, then you have to license Star Trek ships, okay? So if I wanted to, say, do a Star Trek book, I would then have to get a separate license to do that. Say if I wanted to do Star Trek action figure, once again, I'd have to get a separate license for that. And it all goes down on regions. So just because I can sell this in the UK, if I wanted to do it in the US or France, I would have to get a separate license to do that, and that obviously takes a bit of time. It's another reason why when Eagle Moss first started out, and they delivered through the shops and stuff like that, it was only the UK. The US did follow, but it was months and months and months after. It's about 6 months after. That was due to licensing and stuff like that. So licensing has a complex to it, and once you understand that complex, then you understand quite a lot of stuff in regards to licensing and how it all works. There's a lot of stuff online about licensing and stuff, but you know, the gist of it is it's not easy, and it can be completely frustrating because you have to work with the licensor. In this case, it would be Paramount. So you'd have to work with Paramount. And everything that the license as well you achieve has to be approved by them as well. So everything that Eagle Moss made had to then go and get approved by CBS or Paramount, and then they can go with it. I know some people would say, well, that's not accurate. Say if the ship come out and there was something that wasn't accurate on it, you know, Eagle Moss wouldn't be actually implied to correct that mistake, because if that mistake was made and then it was sent off for approval from the licensor and they went, yep, that's fine, we'll approve that, then the licensor has already approved it, so it doesn't mean it needs to be changed. It's just, there was a similar argument with the build-up enterprise as well, the Partwork enterprise. So many people were saying that it was inaccurate. The windows are not lined up properly. You know, now that it went through a number of changes, that build, and then when they got the final build, they sent it over to CBS, who looked at it, and they could have gone, well, that's wrong, and Eagle Moss would have changed it, but they didn't. They approved it, which meant that they were happy with it, and Eagle Moss produced it. Whether or not we're happy with it, but as long as the licensor that licensed it is happy, it's a good day. But there's a lot around licensing. Like I said, it's another reason, probably, though we've touched on the controversy of Johnny Five and Short Circuit before, it's probably why there isn't any merchandise for it at all, and it probably involves the license to it. So when you deep dive into the license of Short Circuit, you're getting to realise that it's not as straightforward. So I think it was originally owned by TranStar, that were bought by Fox. Fox was then sold to Disney. I think Columbia Pictures or New Line Cinema, something like that, has now bought the rights to do Short Circuit. And there's been rumours for a number of years, for the last 5 or 6 years actually, there's been rumours of them doing a movie. It was rewrit, it's been dropped, it's been picked up. So at the moment, I don't know where the licence lies. And not only that, is Short Circuit, is Johnny Five part of that licence? So back in the day, we're just going a bit off top here, but back in the day, what happened was that you would license certain stuff out to the people that built it. So for instance, take the ship here. So basically I could build that ship, but to make it cheaper, the company would license it to me. Okay, so they could use it, but the ship itself would be licensed to myself, not the actual company. So if you wanted to produce that ship, you would get the Star Trek license to produce it under the Star Trek license, but then you would have to approach me as the owner and license of the ship design to then produce it. So you'd actually need two license, lease like things for that. And I've tried to look and I've tried to find out, but I have a distinct feeling that Johnny Five was the same. That it was the film Short Circuit, but I think that the actual machine of it was built by someone else who owns the license for that, if you know what I mean. So it meant that you would have to get the license for Short Circuit, and then you would have to approach the license to actually produce that robot. So even though it comes under Short Circuit, there's underlining things. It's also worth noting as well that there's a few there's a way around licensing. So especially with figures. So if you can create a figure that doesn't look like the actual person, this is why I've got a little Groot here. So take Groot for instance. So Groot is owned by Marvel Disney, so licensing Groot is very, very easy because he's not actually a likeness of anyone. So yeah, so he's not actually a likeness. Now, in regards to old Picard here, you would have to get the license for the Star Trek Next Generation, firstly. But to get his likeness and to get him to look like that, you would then have to get a license for Patrick Stewart. So then you would have the Patrick Stewart license, which meant you could produce stuff with his actual face on, and the Next Generation Star Trek as well. So then you can produce him like this. It's also why companies choose to do, when they do action figures, they don't represent characters. And so that takes us on to Batman. So we've got the Batman build at the moment, not the Tumblr build, the actual Batman. It's on the trial at the moment, out in France. We mentioned right at the start. So obviously Christian Bale played him. You can license Batman, but he can't look like Christian Bale. And this is another thing that that's been a discussion in the RoboCop group in regards to the face. So you can build RoboCop, okay? But he can't have... He can have the mouth, because that's RoboCop, but the helmet comes off and there's a face there. And it cannot look like... We think it can't look like actual RoboCop from any of the films, because they would have to get an extra license to do that. And that would cost extra money and extra change. And there could be a point where you go, no, we won't do that. It's also worth noting, if you're into Hot Toys and things like that, you will know that Hot Toys hasn't produced a Drax figure. Well, it's produced two, but actually it took a long time for them to produce it. And the reason is because they couldn't grab the license for David Bautista. And why? Because David Bautista's actual license to get stuff to look like him is not actually owned by David Bautista. It's actually owned by WWE. So in that case, you would have to approach Disney to make Drax. And then you would have to approach WWE, so you could use David Bautista's likeness to produce the figure. And that was why there was a massive problem with that, in acquiring that. And it's also why Hot Toys took so long to produce it. It's also probably why they've not done lots of others. And also as well, if you grab the license for a particular person, you can then actually create figures from any film that they've been in very easily. And this is particular with some actors, where that you'll find characters or figures of them from films that are a bit like, why have they produced that figure of that person from that one movie and all that sort of stuff? It's because they own the license to produce his likeness, and it becomes easier to license the stuff. So it's a very time consuming, very long out thing, licensing. It's just one of those things. Also as well, there's also been the U-boat. So we got the U-96. It's also out in Germany, I do believe, at the minute. It's just got a full release, but it's being tested here in the UK. I don't know how well that's going. It looks okay. It's quite big. I think it's as big as the Bismarck and things like that. It's got a lot of interior work to it, which is really quite cool. Really. You get little figures that you can place on it as well. And I think a lot of the panels come off, so you get a panel that comes off the sleeping quarters, the engine room, the bridge, and I think the torpedo tubes as well. So there's all these panels that come off it on the different sides, I believe. And yeah, interesting, because you can actually build in the interior as well, a bit like you are with the Titanic and like you did with the engine room and stuff like that on the Bismarck. But this one is a bit more sort of detailed in terms of the interior. So yeah, go check that out. U-96. It looks okay. It looks okay, but that's on a test at the moment. I still don't think that we're over that period yet of new builds coming out. We know that Hachette have got the new Warhammer coming out, Dungeons and Dragons coming out, and the Alien build. Are they going to throw a curveball in with maybe the Starsky and Hutch car or the King Tiger tank? We don't know. Both of those, by the way, were I think actually they were both sort of tested last year around the same sort of time. So we may get them. There's a May in there. Also as well, I believe that they've said that they are going ahead now with the Lancaster bomber, which I know a lot of people were really excited about, especially with the diorama base and stuff like that with the dam. I think it's a Lancaster. I think it is. Yeah, it is. It is. I'm going mad here. Yes. So, and I know a lot of people were really excited about that. So, that is, yeah, that's coming. I think it's the end of this year. I think that's more likely to come out. Like I said, between September and April is when they release stuff. So we're still in that window of them releasing stuff. We've got some stuff that's going to be coming out in February this month. And then in March, I believe, as well. So I think we've got the Warhammer and Alien this month. And then I think D&D comes out in March. So there's like I said, there's still a lot to come out. We've got the Optimus Prime from Agora to be released. We still haven't heard much more detail about the James Bond stuff, other than they've got a license and they're going to be producing around 8, 9 cars, 10 cars, whatever. But they said, I think they've said now that they're going to produce 2 cars every year from James Bond, which is good. It sort of paces you. I'm not a James Bond fan, so none of that sort of remotely interests me. I keep getting asked if I'm going to do the Optimus Prime build from Agora. If Agora wants to send me it to build, I will build it for them. But otherwise, no. I'm going to pan the camera up. You'll see that I have a rather impressive Transformer collection anyway. We got Optimus there, and then my tattoo, obviously. Where are we? There we go. We got Bumblebee there, Optimus Prime, Starscream in the middle. We've got Optimus Mash as well. So that's a Mr. Potato Head Optimus Prime called Optimus Smash, like mashed potato. Play on words. Yeah. So, but yeah, if Agora wants to give me it to build, I'll build it for them. Quite, you know, very gracefully build that for them. But no, I'm not going to build it. I'm still holding out that the movie Optimus Prime from D'Agostini will be released this year. Fingers crossed. The Alien build is coming along nicely. Like I said, I will be finished that in March. So whatever happens, it'll be finished in March. Coming on to the train set. So yeah, like I said, I've got the dispatch thing. I will do a video of it being unboxing video, if you like. Then there'll probably be a load of videos of me just mucking about with it. And then you'll see it all come together. So I'm buying more track. I'm going to lay it down. I'm buying buildings. You'll see all the processes that I'm going to make this train set really cool. I'm also going to be using the new system when it comes out. So that is the HMS 7000, I think it's called, which is the Bluetooth tech. I've actually ordered myself a brand new tablet just to play it. So yeah, so I've ordered myself a brand new tablet. So when I can, I will buy this as well. Now the loco that comes is just a standard one. It doesn't have a decoder in it, but I will be buying a Bluetooth decoder for it, ready for this new system. So I will be already up and running with that, and I will do that on the channel as well. You'll see me how you put a decoder in and how it all works, and you'll see all that on the channel, because going forward I think what I'm going to do is buy some of the locos that are already got the decoders pre-installed. Now they're a little bit more money. I think they're about £45 more, but it's less hassle, and anything that comes that's less hassle is a bonus for me. Less mucking around. But there are some locos that I'm going to buy that won't have it, and we will buy the decoders to do that. And you won't need a special normally with a decoder, what it is you can code it so you can use digitally, but also as well you have to preload sound files onto it. Well, with the Bluetooth tech you don't need to do that. the new Bluetooth decoders, you put it in, it's already preloaded. A lot of these locos as well already come with the decoder parts already in it, but also come with the sugar cube or a speaker system in it. So once again, you don't need to really go around fiddling with it. So I'm proper excited for this. This is going to be a big project for me and the channel, really, going forward. So going forward with the channel, I don't really know what's occurring really with the channel, because I'm just going along now, doing the part works, but I'm getting to the point where there isn't going to be a lot of part work stuff on the channel, because you know I only build the builds that I want to build, and there's no point in building every single part work going, simply because I don't think anyone has that much interest in everything that comes out. You if you like cars, that's fine, but normally you like particular cars. So doing every single car is matter. Not only that, it's the space. So I've got, as you can see, I have I'm running out of space, and you know, I've got all these pops down here, and I am really running out of space here. I'm going to be putting some shelves up higher. So up on this point here, I'm going to, where is it? Where's my finger? There it is. I'm going to run some shelves along there to put more around. So hopefully building a shelf along there, I'll be able to put some of these. But obviously you can see the DeLorean there, and I've got the Route Master. I know where I'm going to place the Enterprise. That's going downstairs. That was decided long ago. It was a running thing that was going on between me and World of Wayne. So he wanted his above the telly. That's where mine was. My wife said, yeah. His wife said no. So there was a bit of a thingy going between it. But that is still my plan. So that is when the Enterprise is built. It's going downstairs. My Terminator's downstairs. The Alien is also going to be going downstairs as well. There's going to be a space for it there. The doll's house is downstairs as well. So it comes as sort of so the tumbler is going on the landing, so just at the top of the landing. I did post a photo. My wife bought these two great posters and pictures that are on the wall, so they're going to be just above it. It's going to sit out there. That's where the tumbler is sitting. Kirsty's got some room for the Dodge Charger on her side, so her side's just behind the camera, and that is where she's going to have her one, and then we're going to buy a Vin Diesel and a Paul Walker 1/6 scale figure, either to kit brush or a figure already built. We don't know yet, but once that's built, that's where that one's going. Probably behind Harley. So if I turn like this, that's my wife's side, as you can see. There's all her bits, and just up there. So just over there, she has the Mustang that we built, the GT. We got Harley here on her bike. So there's a bit of shifting around, but it's that's where that's going to go. So at the moment, that's where everything's going. Now, like I said, we're running out of space. We're currently getting a new kitchen, so we're hoping Magnet start doing that soon, because we've sorted all of that. So when they come and start doing that, I may have an extra little room somewhere in my house where I can put some more bits. So yes, more stuff. But yeah, as we get further down, I'm running out of space, and it's mainly vehicles. Now, I said I would only do the Batmobile. Obviously, if it was the Tumbler, Hachette listened, and now the Tumbler's there, so I'm building that. But in terms of anything else, it comes down to space. So if I built the Optimus Prime, he would sit just here next to Optimus there. So I'd have the two of them. And Robocop as well, that's going to be up here somewhere. Might be up here, it might be downstairs. We're not entirely sure yet. But yeah, it's just trying to find space, and that is my main problem now with buying stuff. It's also as well, it also comes down with there's nothing really out that's sort of getting my fancy, if you know what I mean. There's nothing really out at the minute that's like just jumping out at me. But I don't want to build something for the sake of building it. I can't stress this enough. Do not build something for the sake of building it. I've come across too many people that have done this and then got into either financial trouble or space trouble at the end. So yeah, so it's a big thing for me. If you have to have interest in it, and you have to have the space to build it. So yeah, and obviously you're saying, well, there's not a lot of room for me train set. There's a solution to that, and you have to watch the train sets show and me build that to find out what the solution is, because obviously it's a smaller base than the 00, and that was the whole reason I went for it. You know, N-Gage was too expensive for its size and too small for detail. 00's too big. TT's perfect. It's the same price as 00 and it's half the scale. So it's perfect, and there's very cool solutions to build it, and I cannot wait to show you what I'm doing with that and how I am doing the space thing on that, because I think a lot of people nowadays want to build a train set but don't have the space, and I don't have the space, but I've made a little space on how I'm going to build my train set and making it easy to get access to as and when I need it. But you'll have to watch the show to find all that out, as well as me and Jason over at Jay's channel will be building and sort of collaborating a little bit together on that as well. But yeah, that's really it, really. But yeah, there's not a lot out. I mean, if they did a Predator figure, that would sit, you know, if Hachette did a Predator figure that was, you know, like the Terminator, like the Alien build, I'd build that, because I think that would be ultra cool. Especially with the features that I think you could do with it, especially with the gun movement. You could give it the laser eye targeting system, the sort of gauntlet computer thing on his arm, but then it's deciding which Predator they go for, and then you could have the ability to take the mask off and have the face. You know, Hot Toys do perfectly good Predator figures. Easily, I think you could replicate that in a bigger size for a part work. But if they did something like that, I would jump on that. But yeah, there's a few that I would jump on. No more vehicles, I think. Yeah, what I'm building now, the Charger and the Tumbler, that's it. I've got literally, as you've seen, I've got no room for vehicles anymore. If they did Predator, yeah, I'd be all over that. If they did a Dalek, once again, I'd be all over that. If they did Johnny 5, I don't think they will. But if they ever did, I would be all over that. I see that they were doing the ET build. That was last year when they trialled that. No, I'm not a big ET fan. There's a lot of ET stuff actually out at the moment. A lot of pops, a lot of action figures and things like that. I don't know what. It's really weird. So they've gone from having no merchandise for a lot of these films, even Jaws, to having loads of action figures and characters, like even background characters and things like that. And it's just like, wow, why? But it's but I was never, obviously I think everyone has seen E.T. It's one of those family films, especially my age. I think we always watched it. It was always on, and it was always one of those films that we all saw. but I'm never a hardcore fan of it, if you know what I mean. I was never hardcore to it. You know, I was more into when it came out, and when I watched it and all that sort of stuff, I was more into Star Trek. You know, I was more into Jurassic Park and stuff like that, and dinosaurs, over E.T. I think it's a nostalgia thing now. I think a lot of people my age do it for a nostalgia feel. Same with why they've released the cartoon action figures of Dungeons and Dragons and Gargoyles and things like that. Obviously, I remember them and I watched all those programs, but I was never a massive fan. You know, not a fan enough to buy stuff. Not like Star Trek, not like, you know, Transformers and things like that. But yeah. So yeah, the ET one is, I know there's going to be a few people that are going to go crazy for that, but I am not one of them. I just don't also see how that would work as a part work, because he's, you know, ET is quite small. He's a little small guy, isn't he? But I don't know how that would work as a part work. Obviously, they're trying in it. Whether or not it goes any further than that, but yeah, I can understand them doing the Alien and doing the Terminator and RoboCop and things like that, but E.T., it almost seems like they're trying to capitalise on the popularity at the moment of it, trying to get it for the moment, if you know what I mean. But yeah, it's a no from me. I wouldn't do that. But like I said, if they did a Predator, you know, Short Circuit, you know, Johnny Five, or a Dalek, then yeah, I think, yeah, I would definitely jump all over them. In terms of vehicles, no. I see that they are going to be doing a Volkswagen Golf GTI, which I think is a Mark 1. Now, I did own a Mark 2, a black Mark 2. Would I get it? No. There's not many cars. I like cars, don't get me wrong. You know, if they did a Sierra Cosworth or you know, a Cosy or something like that, I might be very tempted to do something like that. But no, is the is the answer to that. I may start doing scale electrics. I have been umming and ahhing about it actually over the last 6 months and stuff. It's something that I think I could click together and me and the kids could play, and it would be quite fun to do that. And yeah, they do lots of different cars and that, and I could display those cars and stuff like that fairly easy. But mainly just to have a muck about and it'd be a bit of fun. But I have been thinking about that. That's something that might happen further down the line, by the way. So I might start doing scale electrics, but you never know. But yeah, that is my week. I've been going on now for 43 minutes. So yes, that is what's been happening this week. But yeah. But yeah, the channel is going to evolve, I think, this year. As I try and move the channel a little bit away from part works. Obviously, this year we're going to be having a lot of builds finish. So, you know, we've got the Alien build near enough finished now. We've got there's going to be a few that are finished next year, early next year. But RoboCop will be finished this year. The Charger will be finished this year. Obviously, the Tumbler will be further down the line. The Enterprise build will be, I think, that will be finished probably into next year. So that gives us something. But yeah. So yeah, we're gonna cut a little bit, but there are going to be other things that are coming to the channel, like the TT build. I'm hoping that really picks up because I'm really excited for that. So I hope you're excited too with that. And you can see me, you know, hopefully not electrocute myself, but see me wiring stuff up and using the different techniques and stuff like that. So it'd be really, really interesting. But yeah, so anyway, that's my weekly roundup for this week. I will be back next time as a live stream, as always. But until then, thank you guys for subscribing and watching the channel as well as this video. If you haven't subscribed and you come across and you're thinking this man is either lost it or or is crazy, or actually he's quite good, give it a subscribe, because you never know, it could be crazy. Anything could happen. But yeah, and obviously like this video as well, and comment as well. I love reading the comments, and very, very appreciated for all the comments I get. But anyway, I'm going to go now, and thank you for listening, and as always, we'll see you at the next video. Take it easy.